Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into our exploration for today, lesson 164 of the course.
Welcome back.
And I have to say, I'm genuinely excited for this one. It feels like it points to something so simple, but kind of revolutionary.
And hello again to everyone tuning in. Yeah, this particular exploration, it really landed differently for me this time around.
Oh, yeah.
It touches on something, fundamental, I think, but it's something we tend to overlook constantly.
Absolutely. Before we really jump in, though, just the usual quick reminder, you can always reach out, questions, feedback, anything.
We love hearing from you.
We really do. The email is acim@theworldharmonyproject.org. And on TikTok, we're at the World Harmony Project. Seriously, thank you to everyone who's shared thoughts so far. It makes a difference.
It really does. Your insights, your experiences, they just add so much richness to this whole process.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, so as we always do, let's start by just reading the lesson itself. Let's let these words kind of wash over us. Now, are we one with him who is our source?
What time but now can truth be recognized? The present is the only time there is.
And so today, this instant, now, we come to look upon what is forever there, not in our sight, but in the eyes of Christ.
He looks past time and sees eternity as represented there.
He hears the sounds the senseless, busy world engenders, yet he hears them faintly.
For beyond them all, he hears the song of heaven, and the voice for God more clear, more meaningful, more near.
The world fades easily away before his sight. Its sounds grow dim.
A melody from far beyond the world increasingly is more and more distinct, an ancient call to which he gives an ancient answer.
You will recognize them both, for they are but your answer to your Father's call to you.
Christ answers for you, echoing yourself, using your voice to give his glad consent, accepting your deliverance for you.
How holy is your practicing today as Christ gives you his sight and hears for you and answers in your name the call he hears.
How quiet is the time you give to spend with him beyond the world.
How easily are all your seeming sins forgot and all your sorrows unremembered.
On this day is grief laid by. For sights and sounds that come from nearer than the world are clear to you who will today accept the gifts he gives.
There is a silence into which the world cannot intrude. There is an ancient peace you carry in your heart and have not lost.
There's a sense of holiness in you the thought of sin has never touched. All this today you will remember.
Faithfulness in practicing today will bring rewards so great and so completely different from all things you sought before that you will know that here your treasure is and here your rest.
This is the day when vain imaginings part like a curtain to reveal what lies beyond them.
Now is what is really there made visible, while all the shadows which appeared to hide it merely sink away.
Now is the balance righted, and the scale of judgment left to him who judges true.
And in his judgment will a world unfold in perfect innocence before your eyes. Now will you see it with the eyes of Christ. Now is its transformation clear to you.
Brother, this day is sacred to the world. Your vision, given you from far beyond all things within the world, looks back on them in a new light.
And what you see becomes the healing and salvation of the world. The valuable and valueless are both perceived and recognized for what they are.
And what is worthy of your love receives your love, while nothing to be feared remains.
We will not judge today. We will receive but what is given us from judgment made beyond the world.
Our practicing today becomes our gift of thankfulness for our release from blindness and from misery.
All that we see will but increase our joy because its holiness reflects our own.
We stand forgiven in the sight of Christ, with all the world forgiven in our own.
We bless the world as we behold it in the light in which our Savior looks on us and offer it the freedom given us through his forgiving vision, not our own.
Open the curtain in your practicing by merely letting go all things you think you want.
Your trifling treasures put away and leave a clean and open space within your mind where Christ can come and offer you the treasure of salvation.
He has need of your most holy mind to save the world. Is not this purpose worthy to be yours?
Is not Christ's vision worthy to be sought above the world's unsatisfying goals?
Let not today slip by without the gifts it holds for you receiving your consent and your acceptance. We can change the world if you acknowledge them.
You may not see the value your acceptance gives the world, but this you surely want. You can exchange all suffering for joy this very day.
Practice in earnest, and the gift is yours. Would God deceive you? Can his promise fail?
Can you withhold so little when his hand holds out complete salvation to his Son? Every single time I hear that, especially that opening line, now are we one with him who is our source. It just, it makes me think about those moments that sometimes just sneak up on you in everyday life. Like maybe I'm just totally lost and, I don't know, kicking a ball around with my kid or really in the flow, writing something, even just like washing dishes sometimes.
Yeah.
And the usual mental chatter, the planning, the worrying, the replaying, it just kind of stops and you're simply here.
That's it, isn't it? That sense of just being here, fully present. That's exactly, I think, what this lesson is guiding our attention towards. It's saying, hey, this isn't some rare peak experience you stumble into by accident. This connection, this presence beyond all that mental noise, it's actually available right now, this instant.
So it's not something we have to like get to eventually. It's already the case.
Precisely. And that's maybe one of the sharpest points here. The present moment isn't just, the best time to recognize truth. It's literally the only time it exists and can be recognized.
Right.
It really underlines that our connection to source, it isn't a future goal. It's not something we achieve. It's already a complete current reality. We keep looking away from it.
Looking everywhere but here.
Exactly. And then there's this idea of a deeper seeing being available. It calls it the eyes of Christ.
Right.
And, this isn't necessarily about adopting a specific religious frame, but more about accessing a perspective, a way of seeing that looks right past all the surface drama, the stories we tell, and recognizes this fundamental okayness underneath it all, that it's eternally all right.
And the peace we're always chasing.
Yeah, that peace we feel like we have to, work so hard for or create or earn somehow. The lesson suggests it's not something we build. It's actually already here. We're just covering it up, obscuring it with our own nonstop busy thinking.
Okay, the busy thinking part, that really lands for me. When I read Senseless Busy World, my first thought isn't like traffic jams or crowded malls. It's the constant narration inside my own head. Even right now, talking about peace, there's probably a part of my mind thinking about what's next or replaying something stupid I said earlier. That internal noise, that feeling that everything's urgent and I'm separate from it all, is that the senseless, busy world the lesson means. The inner world, not the outer one.
Absolutely. I think that's a really key way to understand it. It's that inner landscape, isn't it? The mind's relentless loop, thoughts, judgments, plans, worries, it feels so real, so consuming, like it's the only reality available. But the lesson offers this incredible alternative. It says underneath all that noise, all that chaos, there's a part of you, something in you, that is utterly undisturbed, completely quiet. Think about being, inside a really loud concert or party. The noise is just overwhelming, right? But if you step just outside the door, suddenly you can hear the quiet, maybe the crickets or the wind, that peace, that quiet, it was there the whole time, just right outside the noise. Our mental chatter is like that loud party inside our heads. It just drowns out the quiet peace that's actually always present, just beyond the immediate noise.
So the peace isn't like miles away or something we get after enlightenment. It's right here. We're just not hearing it over the racket.
Exactly. It's just unheard. And when the lesson says Christ sees for us, let's unpack that a bit. It doesn't necessarily mean some external figure is literally doing the seeing for you.
Right.
It's pointing, I think, to a capacity for awareness within us, a perspective that's bigger than our usual limited ego-driven view, the one tied up in our personal story and anxieties.
Like taking a step back from the immediate reaction.
Yes, exactly. Think about maybe you see someone and your first reaction is irritation. Maybe they cut you off in traffic, whatever. Your mind jumps to judgment.
Yep, know that one.
But then, maybe just for a split second, you see past the annoying behavior. You see their stress or just their basic humanity. Maybe you feel a flicker of connection or even compassion.
Okay.
That shift, that ability to see beyond the surface judgment, beyond your own reaction to something deeper, more connected, that's a taste of this deeper seeing with the eyes of Christ in a really practical way. It's accessing that larger viewpoint that's available in all of us.
I like that framing. It makes it feel more accessible, not some abstract mystical thing I have to achieve.
Right.
And the lesson mentions vain imaginings. My first thought might be, daydreaming about a vacation. But the course seems to mean something else, doesn't it? Is it about the stories we tell ourselves for why we can't be okay, like right now?
Yes, vain imaginings aren't just idle daydreams. They're those really compelling, often quite negative narratives we create in our minds that seem to justify why peace isn't possible now. I can't possibly feel okay until I solve this problem, or peace is for other people, not me because I'm too flawed, or my circumstances just aren't right for peace yet.
Oh, yeah. Those stories can be really loud and convincing.
They really are. And the lesson uses that beautiful metaphor, these stories, these vain imaginings, they're just like a curtain. They feel solid, but they're flimsy. We pull this curtain across the window and convince ourselves we're trapped in a dark, awful room, when actually this beautiful, peaceful reality is right outside, just hidden by that thin curtain we put up ourselves. They aren't concrete walls. They just need to part.
Wow. It's kind of humbling to realize the barriers are mostly self-constructed.
Yeah.
I remember this time I was just obsessing over a mistake I thought I'd made at work. My mind was just a total storm of that senseless, busy world noise guilt, imagining awful consequences, replaying it over and over. I was completely tangled up in the vain imaginings about how this one thing defined me, how it ruined everything. And hearing this lesson now, it perfectly describes how, in that state, I was totally blind to the fact that actually, okayness, a different perspective was still available. If only I could let that mental storm quiet down, even for a second, and seen past the story I was spinning.
That's such a perfect example. It really highlights the contrast, doesn't it? Our sort of default mode is often getting completely lost in that internal busy world. We believe the vain imaginings are the absolute truth. And we feel like peace is some distant reward we get after we fix ourselves or fix a world. But the practice this lesson invites us into is simply noticing that default mode and remembering that something else, something peaceful, is already present. It's here, independent of circumstances or self-improvement projects.
Okay, right. So that brings up the really practical question. If this piece is already here and the imaginings are just curtains, how do we actually do that? How do we part the curtains, especially when life feels genuinely stressful or overwhelming? What does applying this look like, in the middle of the mess?
That's the key, isn't it? The how. And it seems less about like forcing a feeling of peace and more about these subtle, simple shifts in where you put your attention.
Okay.
Let's try a couple of scenarios. Say you're in a work meeting and it's getting tense, stressful. Your usual pattern might be to immediately feel defensive. Your mind races with counterarguments, worries, judgments.
Yep, familiar territory.
Okay. So instead of just getting swept away in that internal storm, what if you try this? Just for a moment, notice that you are here, physically in the room. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your body in the chair.
Grounding physically first.
Yeah, just a simple physical check-in. And then from that slightly more grounded place, maybe just for a few seconds, could you listen to what's being said with a little bit of curiosity, instead of instantly formulating your rebuttal or getting lost in your reaction? It's right. You're scrolling, seeing maybe these perfectly curated lives, and that little voice starts, I'm not doing enough. My life is boring. I'll be happy when I have what they have. Those are the vain imaginings kicking in hard.
Definitely.
So when you notice that feeling, that not enoughness, just pause. You don't have to fight it or immediately try to think positive thoughts. Just notice you are actually here in your real life right now.
Noticing again.
Yes. Feel the phone or the tablet in your hands. Notice the light in the room, the sounds around you. Just for a moment, bring your awareness back to the simple fact of being present where you actually are. There's a part of you, underneath the comparison, that's just naturally okay, that isn't really impressed or depressed by the scrolling. Can you sense that place even briefly? The place that exists before the stories of inadequacy start.
It's like remembering the actual truth isn't on the screen. It's right here where I am.
Precisely. And that brings us right back to the heart of the lesson, doesn't it? It's not asking us to reach some special enlightened state or earn our peace or figure out complex spiritual ideas. No.
It's simply pointing back again and again to what's already true about you right now in this very moment. You are connected to something inherently peaceful, whole, and undisturbed. Something way bigger than your personal drama or story.
So the peace, that sense of being okay, it's not a reward down the line that we have to slave away for.
Right. It's here, now. It's just often hidden because we've developed this habit of looking everywhere else, for it lost in the mental noise, caught up in the vain imaginings. So the practice today really is just about remembering to look from that deeper place, to access that quiet presence, even for fleeting moments throughout the day. It's about placing your faith, like the lesson says, in the gifts this very day already holds for you. They're already available.
I have to say, working with this lesson is always helpful.
Yeah.
I kept catching myself in those moments where I often start worrying, and I remembered to just notice I was here.
Yeah, same. I was reorganizing my closet the other day, which is usually this whole thing where I judge myself for being messy, and instead I just got absorbed in folding clothes. It was almost meditative.
It's weird how simple it is, right? I'm not having these big mystical experiences or anything.
Wrong.
I'm just finding these little pockets of okayness in regular moments.
Exactly. And I love that the lesson doesn't ask us to fix ourselves first. It's more like, hey, what if you're already fine and you just keep forgetting that?
So here's what we want to suggest for today. Pick one routine thing you do every day.
Okay.
Could be feeding your pets, checking your mail, brushing your teeth before bed, whatever feels natural to you.
Use that as your reminder to just be present, not trying to feel anything special or analyze if you're doing it right.
Right.
Just noticing you're here in your actual life.
And when you catch those vain imaginings, all the stories about why you can't be okay right now, see what's there when they quiet down, if even for a second.
It's a relief to realize I don't have to work so hard at being spiritual.
Right. The piece is already there. We just have to stop covering it up with all our mental noise.
All right, friends, thanks for hanging out with us today. I hope this discussion was useful for you.